Welcome back to Beyond the Buckets. I'm happy to have the Michael Jordan of Dentistry. Welcome, Dr. Bill Dorfman.
Thank you so much. How are you?
It's great to have you, and I thank you for taking some time with us today. But I would like to just start off. Give us a fun fact about yourself. Even the people that are maybe close around you might not even know.
I am a horrible chef. Like, if you come to my house and I tell you I'm cooking dinner, run.
If you had your special dish, what would it be? If you had to make something that was edible, what would that be?
The only thing I can make that's actually edible are smoothies.
Okay. All right. And what do you,
Other than that, you don't want to eat it.
And what's your smoothie recipe? My wife and I are big juice heads. So we love smoothies.
I use a 50-50 mix of carrot juice and water with two kinds of protein, flaxseed, oat bran, and full banana and frozen fruit.
There you go. Are you a fan of athletic greens at all?
Athletic grains? Never even heard the term.
Athletic greens.
I've never even heard of it.
So it's a blend of 75 different vitamins and nutrition, and it's a great blend. A lot of celebrities and athletes use it, and everyday people as well. So I would definitely check out Athletic Greens. It has basically everything you need from for your nutrition in one small little dose. So we take that every single day, along with some collagen peptides and things like that.
Well, you know what? That sounds great, but I'm just going to tell you here. I kind of feel like what I'm doing is working.
For sure.
Well, here's the thing. I just did this.
Well, you're doing quite all right with the GQ magazine. For the people that are listening on the actual podcast platforms, you were definitely
Chris,
doing a great job.
How old I am?
I do not. I can't tell.
I'm 63.
Wow, that's amazing.
So I don't think I need that stuff. My thing's working. I'm pretty happy.
Well, I need to know exactly what that recipe is. So I look like that when I turned 63.
I'll tell you what the recipe is. Eat healthy. Don't smoke. Don't drink. Don't do drugs, and be happy.
Yeah, and that the hard part is people can do certain things, but they can't remain consistent. That's been the biggest thing that I see when people fall short of their goals. And so, nutrition and eating right and doing the right things, we all know we need to do that. But what has given you the discipline to make sure you stick with that throughout your whole life?
That's the thing, is like nobody gave me discipline. It was just inherently in me. I mean, yeah. I'll tell you something. I was never a little kid in my entire life. I mean, I was like an adult trapped in a little kid body. When I went to nursery school or kindergarten, I was 5 years old. I came home and my parents said, "Hey, how was kindergarten?" I said, class was good, but the kids are so immature. I was 5,
Wow.
and I never felt like a little kid. I always felt like an outsider. I always felt like I was a kid trapped, like an adult trapped in a kid's body.
Right. And so speaking about your childhood, why don't you give a 2-minute, 3-minute origin story about who you are, where you grew up, and how you became the person you are now?
Well, I grew up in a very, very humble setting. I was born in downtown LA, and then I grew up in Granada Hills. We were poor. I mean, really poor. We had nothing. I got my first job when I was 5, picking weeds in the neighborhood, and I continued doing that through high school. I became a gardener. Then I worked at Swenson's ice cream parlor. I worked at Ralph's supermarket. And I mean, I've worked my whole life. I started at 5. I've never not worked.
Yeah.
And even though I came up in a very loving home, my parents didn't buy me stuff just because they didn't have money. If I wanted blue jeans, I had to go buy them, So I was really fortunate. I got a full scholarship pretty much to UCLA. After UCLA, I went to UOP Dental School. After dental school, I applied for a residency program where they only took one person with 400 applicants.
Yeah.
And I made sure that I was that one.
Yeah.
I literally did more than anybody else to get the job. I had every instructor in my dental school write me letters of recommendation. I called the director regularly. And when I realized that all that wasn't going to work, one day I was on the phone with him, and I tell kids in my LEAP program, which we'll talk about in a little bit, there will be life-defining moments that you have. And sometimes you plan them, other times you don't. They just happen. And this was just a just happened one where I said to the director, "Can I take you to lunch?" I had heard that was a good way to meet people. And he said yes. And, then he said, "But you're in San Francisco and I'm in Lausanne, Switzerland." I'm like, "Yeah, no problem. I'll buy a ticket," which was even funnier because I was so broke. You know how much money I had in my bank account?
Probably close to zero.
No, I didn't have a bank account. That's how broke I was. Like,
Wow.
I literally didn't have anything to put in a bank account. That's how broke I was. But I borrowed some money. I went there and they hired me, and the rest is history.
Wow. So at what age did you know that dentistry was going to be your calling? Were you, like you said, you were never an adult, or excuse me, you were always an adult. You were never a child. So even at age 5, but when you started, picking things out of the garden, becoming a gardener, I'm assuming a lot of those traits and habits helped you as you started to navigate what you actually wanted to do. I know for me personally, there was a job that I got right out of high school just for summer before college. And it was working for the San Jose water company. And I was having to dig these massive 6-foot trenches and the water spraying and everything like that. And I knew for a fact I never wanted to do that after that summer. And I fulfilled my requirement by doing that, but I learned so much about myself throughout that process. So what was it for you, and when did you decide to go all in with dentistry?
Well, what happened was when I was about 3, I fell and I knocked out all my baby teeth. And I had to have multiple procedures after that. And we just had a really great family dentist. And I thought, this is really cool. I want to help people like this. And so I would say at the age of 3, and it just never wavered.
And so from that age of 3, you knew that everything that you were doing in your life was going to lead towards you becoming a dentist?
Well, I would say it the other way around. It's like, okay, now you decided to be a dentist. What do you need to do? So it made it kind of easy. Like I would just take classes, that were science oriented, and I majored in biology and then switched that to psychobiology. And so it kind of helped pave the way for, where I was going to go. And the more I learned about dentistry, the more I realized I liked it. And I just stuck to the course.
So after you finished, you were living in the Bay Area at the time. What was the next step after you had originally got that first job?
Well, I moved to Switzerland, and that was an amazing experience for me. I mean, I was 24 years old. I was completely done with school. I was a doctor. I learned how to ski. Maintenant, je peux parler français. Avant, je peux pas. I'm completely fluent in French. I didn't know how to speak French at all. And I made a, boatload of lifetime friends.
Wow. And what were some of the challenges early on in your career when you went over to Switzerland? Obviously, the skiing and getting to meet new people and speak a different language and all that is great. But I'm sure there were some challenges as well as you started to.
Well, I probably the biggest challenge was just the language barrier. I mean, most young people in Switzerland are bilingual, at least, and speak English. but most of my patients in the clinic did not. And I made some horrendous blunders, like horrendous, like, I mean, like world record horrendous, like they were so bad. I'm sure they still talk about it there, and, I'll give you an example. In American dental schools, we're taught to lay our patients completely flat when we're working. It's better for my posture. It's a lot healthier for the dentist. Whereas in Europe, a lot of the dentists still stand and bend over, which is really bad for your back, for your posture, for everything. So early on, as I started speaking French, I had an elderly, very classy woman come in, and what I wanted to say was "Maintenant, je vais vous baisser un peu," meaning I am going to lay you down. What I actually said is "Maintenant, je vais vous baiser un peu." Now, I know those sound really similar, but one is a polite way to say I'm going to lay you back. The other is a not very polite way to say I'm going to engage in sexual intercourse with you. And that was not good.
Oh, man.
And so, I mean, and I continued to make a bunch of like horrendous mistakes like that, purely out of innocence. But who knew,
Well, I think no matter what profession you decide to go in, you have to mess up a whole lot. And just think of any of the athletes that have gone through anything. It took Michael Jordan several years before he actually reached the culmination of conquering NBA World Championship. And so many players in any industry have to go through that same thing. And that was basically just like your 10,000 hours. You're getting these hours in, so you make sure that later on you're not going to have these same mistakes, and you're going to be more fluent in whatever it is, or telling people to lay down as you get over, because you're never going to make that mistake again. And hopefully, if you tell that story enough, then maybe somebody that else is going through something similar can see a light at the end of the tunnel. And it's like, hey, I can get through this as well, just like you did.
For sure. For sure.
So tell me, how did you start becoming a cosmetic dentist, specifically in the LA Beverly Hills area? Did you see a niche for that market? Was there something that kind of sparked an interest to go that route? What was your process behind that?
Well, okay, let's use you as a consumer. Now, let's say you have a really, really ugly, like dark black and cracked front tooth, right?
Which hopefully I don't. I make sure.
No, you got a great grin, but I'm just saying, let's say you were in an accident, you broke it, it died, it turned black. Okay. So you come in and I make you a beautiful porcelain veneer or crown that looks just like a real tooth.
Yep.
Okay. Let's say tooth number 15, which is your upper back, blows up and you need to have a root canal. So I go ahead and I do a perfectly executed root canal. What do you think at the end of the day is going to make you happier? Your brand new front tooth or your perfect root canal?
Well, you and I both know it's all about the aesthetics. So
right.
Even if it's more efficient for us to have that back tooth, it's obviously ingrained in everybody about the vanity that we all have. And obviously you want straight teeth. One of the first things that people look at is your smile or when you speak. So having good teeth, I've been blessed. I've never had braces actually, doctor.
Wow, you're lucky.
But
so
I've been blessed.
What happened was I started getting so much positive, feedback from my patients when I would, beautify their smile, that it was just really, really rewarding for me. And so I found some older dentists that were on the verge of retiring, and I asked if I could work underneath them and learn. Finding a mentor is one of the fastest ways to success. And I worked with two amazing, cosmetic dentists. And the real break for me came, Chris, when ABC called me and asked me to do Extreme Makeover. Because prior to that, all the cosmetic dentistry I did was like between me and you, or me and you and your wife, or who, you know. But now I'm changing somebody's life drastically in front of millions of people that are watching it. TV back then in 2004, 2005, 2006 was way different than TV today. You know, we had millions of viewers. You don't get that on TV anymore.
Right. So was that your big break as far as all the notoriety and things that you've accomplished in your career?
I think there were a lot of things that came together at once. It's funny, I'm up here in Deer Valley with some friends, and one of them is my old business partner, Robert Heyman, who formed Discus Dental with me. So when we formed the company, our original tooth whitening product was called Night White. And then BriteSmile came out. We thought, wow, this in-office thing that's so much faster and better. So we designed a product called Zoom tooth whitening, which did not infringe on the BriteSmile patents. And so we had our own in-office tooth whitening. And so, you know, that kind of exploded, and our business exploded. And as I got on Extreme Makeover, the timing was perfect because it was right at the time that we were launching Zoom, big time. So all of a sudden on primetime TV, I get to show the world Zoom.
So how did Extreme Makeover find you? Did you audition for the role? Was there somebody that was in the casting department and received some services from you? Like how did that all happen?
So Howard Schultz was the producer. He created the show, not Starbucks Howard Schultz, from Lighthearted Entertainment. And he had done some game shows. And one of the women that hosted his show was a woman named Jennifer Fenton. Jennifer Fenton was my patient. She also worked with Dr. Garth Fisher. So when Howard Schultz explained what the show was like, she said, oh, you have to meet Dr. Fisher. He fell in love with Dr. Fisher. He was the first plastic surgeon on the show. And then Dr. Fisher and Jennifer both referred him to me. So they interviewed me and did a screen test, and bada bing, bada bang. There you go.
And so did that kick off your opportunity to start working with, celebrities and athletes and entertainers?
No. That was a whole separate track. We didn't do celebrities on Extreme Makeover.
But I'm saying, did that kick off the celebrity boom after?
No. I had already been treating celebrities, and I don't think that there was a single celebrity who came to my office that said that the reason they came in was because they saw me on Extreme Makeover. In fact, they really shied away from that. Like, if they came in the office and there were all these cameras, they would want to, get out. So we started filming Extreme Makeover on the weekends because it was too disruptive to have it going on during the week.
Yeah. And so do you prefer working with the common folks compared to celebrities, or you just want to help people in general?
I mean, I love helping anybody who really appreciates what I do, So I don't care if they're celebrities or lay people or whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, I love doing it all.
Yeah. And so when I was in college, I didn't have any the reason why I take care of my teeth to this day, and I floss and I do the water pick and all that stuff. I'm just very, very conscientious of my teeth. There was a period in college for 5 years where I didn't have insurance. And so when I got insurance after college, when I first started working, and that was the first thing that I did, I wanted to take care of my teeth. Luckily, I had straight teeth. And like you said, aesthetically in the front, they're straight. On the bottom, they're straight. So that was always a plus. But all the way in the back, I had to do a bunch of different work. So I floss all of the time. Like I'm just super anal. My wife tells me, she's like, I've never seen anybody who's flossed as much as you have. So for people that may not, for people that may not be able to afford the services that you have or dentistry, do you have any suggestions for them to take care of their teeth?
Well, I mean, I think the most important thing is brush and floss at least 3 times a day. And
Yep.
whether you do or don't have sorry, did that make you go away?
No, you're good now.
Are you back? Like,
I can hear you.
I can't hear you. See,
I can hear
blocks
you.
your sound now. I gotta go out and come back in.
All right.
So sorry.
All right.
You know what? I put it on airplane mode now, so hopefully this won't happen anymore.
No worries. We're back. So I believe the question was how you can help, how people can really help their teeth and manage, even if they don't have any dentist insurance.
So even if you don't have dental insurance, you should go to the dentist twice a year. I mean, a cleaning is like $100 to $150. Big deal, you know? And the thing is, if you go and you have a small cavity, it's super, super easy to fix. But if you wait a year or 2 or 3 years, then it's a root canal, a crown, or an implant. It can cost you thousands and thousands of dollars. So don't let not having dental insurance be a deterrent for you going to the dentist. You need to go to the dentist.
For sure. So switching topics just a little bit, talk to me about the business side of things. Obviously, when you go through dental school, you're learning how to practice dentistry, but are you also learning the business side? And then talk about some of the things that people don't really know about running a dental practice.
Well, absolutely not. They are so like crunched on time to get all the dental knowledge that you need into you. They really did not teach us anything about business, you know? So all of the business stuff I learned was after dental school, working as an associate with these, you know, with these other dentists who were my mentors, but definitely not in dental school. And to be honest with you, California is a really bad state to work in as an employer. It's horrible. I mean, first of all, they change the laws all the time. The laws are super ridiculous. And it, you know, if you just do one little thing wrong, you're in a lawsuit. And
Right.
anybody can sue you for the most ridiculous things in the world. And they just get some lawyer who works on contingency. So it doesn't cost them anything to try. It's horrendous.
Have you had any situations where you had to go through any litigation?
The best thing I ever did was to join a PEO with ADP. ADP is my payroll provider. PEO is a professional employment organization. So basically, they become your business partner, right? And so they help, they advise you, you have full access to their HR department and those things. So yeah, they've been really great at trying to kind of keep things from becoming problems.
Yeah, that makes sense to me because I didn't tell you before when we got on, but I used to be an employee benefit consultant for almost a decade. So I would work with companies for their employee benefits, but also we would switch certain companies over to PEOs where it made sense, where you're now taking the risk and the liability away because now you're under this umbrella of probably multiple dentists or multiple businesses in the same field where you can kind of share your workers' comp. You can share your benefits. And so for the insurance companies, it's a win-win because now you're spreading the risk over multiple companies in this demographic, rather than your premiums would be so high for malpractice insurance or this or that if you had to do it your own way.
Right. Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So running the business, what have been some of your challenges doing that? Obviously, if you didn't know anything going into it, now you kind of mastered the art of dentistry, and now you have to master the art of being a business owner as well.
Right. Well, I mean, the first thing, especially for dentists, is you need business. I mean, where are you going to get patients? And, way back when I started, advertising was kind of taboo if you were a doctor. Right. But, I read through the California Dental Association's bylaws, and it was not against the law. And as long as you did it in an ethical way under their guidelines, you could do it. So right out of the gate, I started advertising in different magazines, and a lot of dentists in LA did not like that at all, But you know what? I was supporting my parents, my grandparents, and paying back school loans. Like, I needed to make money,
Right.
and I worked my buns off to do it. I wasn't happy, sitting around watching TV or sports or anything like that. Like, I knew I needed to work.
Yeah. And early on, how many hours a week were you working when you first started?
Early on, I worked full time right out of the gate, and in fact, more than full time, because I was doing all my own accounting, all my own bookkeeping, all my own recall, all my own everything. So I was probably working like 48 to 50 hours a week as a dentist right away.
Wow. And so obviously you've done a lot of different things. Talk about your philanthropy.
So my mantra for life is learn so you can earn and then return. And so I'm kind of in a phase of my life where I really love the return part. We created Zoom Tooth Whitener. It was a huge success. We sold that company. And so 15 years ago, I founded a program called LEAP. And the LEAP Foundation is a nonprofit for high school and college students that teaches them skills to be successful in life. So basically, time management, money management, study skills, networking, public speaking. I mean, on and on and on. And the cool thing about LEAP is we've had all these amazing celebrities who are patients of mine come and participate. We don't pay them a penny. Mark Wahlberg, Anthony Hopkins, Michael Strahan, Usher, Eva Longoria, DC Nash.
Did you say Michael Strahan?
Yes, sir.
So does he keeps the gap on purpose, correct?
I'll tell you the Michael Strahan gap story because it's really funny. Yeah. But and they all come and speak because, like me, they believe that our future is in kids. And they come and they tell the kids about, their struggles and how they overcame them and what they did. And it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. While we have it on the button, why don't you tell me about the Michael Strahan story?
Before I do, let me tell you this. If you are a parent listening or a student 15 to 25, check out LEAP. It's www.leapfoundation.com. We will have a live program this summer at UCLA for about 450 students. We'll have thousands of students virtually, and it is amazing. This year we'll have Richard Branson. I'm having Usher back again, Paula Abdul. I mean, it'll be really cool.
That's really cool. That's awesome that you're doing that. And, when you get a platform to do that, so many people decide not to, but I'm so glad that you decided to pursue that. And I'm going to steal your mantra. From the first time I'm going to give you credit, but the next time I'm going to steal that.
Do it. So Strahan comes in. He was referred by Nicole Murphy, Eddie's ex.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, dude, let's fix that. Oh no, doc, that's my thing. I'm like, really? Oh yeah. No. I'm like, okay. So Nicole had called me separately, said, doc, let's fix the gap. So I said, let's play a trick on her. He goes, what? I said, I'm gonna make you a third tooth that go right in the middle. Right. So we'll make you a tooth that goes right in between the two front teeth. So, and then you go home and just pretend like this is for real. So it was removable. So I made him this little tooth, and he goes home. He's like, hey, Nicole, I got that gap fixed. And then he smiles, and she just screams. And then we get on the phone, and it was hilarious.
Wow. That is the good story. But a lot of people that have, I guess, what the world would think as inadequacy, like as far as their aesthetics go, have made that their thing. Like the Lakers, Anthony Davis, he has the eyebrow and he doesn't want to cut it. Why cut it? That's his thing. And that kind of makes him unique. And so I've always appreciated people just embracing the certain things that they want. And then obviously if they want to change something, they have the right to do that too. So I just think it's important for people to have choices. And obviously it's worked out really well for him.
Well, and I'll tell you something else. That was the big breakthrough for Extreme Makeover. Is like all of a sudden we were telling people, hey, if you don't like your nose, if you don't like your jangled up teeth, it's okay, to fix it.
Yeah.
Because prior to that, it was really not talked about,
Sure.
And we kind of gave people like the go card, like go fix it,
Yeah, I think that's
very
important.
The Kardashians that took it a little bit too far.
Well, we won't touch on that. But tell me a little bit about how you've been able to, so the people that are watching will see the GQ cover that you were on, but the people that are listening, talk about how you've been able to keep your vitality into your 60s. For those who couldn't see, he's still ripped. He looks, I would say close to how I look, but I think you might look better. So tell me, outside of like working out, what's your regimen besides eating well and things like that?
I mean, I think the most important thing, is Chris, is to have balance in your life, And so I really strive hard to maintain that and keep that. And, I don't drink at all. You have a glass of wine here or there, big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, everything in moderation is okay. But I'm really diligent. I go to the gym every day for an hour. As soon as we're done with this podcast, I'm going to the gym. And by the way, I've been skiing since 9:00 this morning.
Oh,
So it's like I ski all day and then I'm going to go to the gym and get a workout in. But yeah, I just try to eat healthy. I stay away from really fatty foods. I try to eat healthy, natural foods, and exercise regularly.
Yeah. If you weren't a dentist, what profession would you be in?
Probably architect.
And what intrigues you about architecture?
I love the attention to detail. I've always been very artistic. I can draw and also very creative. So those are some of my strengths.
Yeah. And running a business, talk about how you've been able to balance work, family life, and all of those things. Obviously, if you're working really hard and diligent, it's going to be hard for you to always be present and be around. This is actually a selfish question because, running different businesses myself, always being out there doing other things, helping people, also takes away from me being a husband, a father, things like that. So I'm always looking to optimize my time when I'm home and when I have the opportunity.
Well, first, you have to hire great help. I have a woman named Sinette who is my office manager. She is amazing. She runs my dental practice like, no other. I have a woman named Nicole. She's my personal assistant. She runs my life. She's the one you've been communicating with.
Sure.
She sets up this interview. She puts it in my phone. She puts in the link. She puts in this. She puts in that. And then I just have a great team around me that helps me do all that. As far as, being present and being a dad, you got to make that a priority in your life. I've always done that with my kids. I have 3 daughters, 24, 24, and 29. I call my kids every day and talk to them. I'm totally involved in their lives and what's going on, all the time. So.
For sure. As we start to wrap up, talk about you wrote a book. So talk about your book.
My book is called $1 Billion Smile. And I was approached by a large publishing house to do the book. They were called Rutledge Hill Press. And when they first approached me and said, would you like to write a book on cosmetic dentistry? I said, no, I want to write a New York Times bestseller. I have no interest in writing a book. And then they laughed. I didn't laugh. So I did research to figure out what I needed to do to write a New York Times bestseller. And what I needed to do was to hire a guy named Michael Drew, who worked with a company called Promote a Book, to help me figure out the algorithm to do what I needed to do so that it would become a New York Times bestseller.
Wow. And what was that process? So
well, the process was this. I had to sell 20,000 books in the first 2 weeks it was on the shelf to hit the New York Times bestseller list. Wow. Well, I had 80,000 dentists buying Zoom from me every month. And we rated them A, B, C, D, and F. Our A and B dentists equal 20,000. So I thought, well, what if I just buy 20,000 books and give them to these dentists? Can I do that? They said, absolutely, as long as you buy them at full price. So wow. I did. And then they were able to buy more books and all the proceeds went to children's charities. So then we sold, 60, 70, 80,000 more books. And it just, bam, in 2 weeks, I was a New York Times bestseller.
Wow. And how does that feel? Do you have any energy to do that again as far as writing a book? And then if so, what would the book be about this time?
No. It's a lot of work. And dude, I'm not a writer. I'm a dentist, I mean, I have 2 Guinness World Book records. I'll get a 3rd or 4th or 5th of those. But
yeah. And what are the 2 records that you have? I did see that that was sent over as well.
The first one is I had pledged to shave my head if we could raise $100,000 for the LEAP Foundation. We did. So I ended up doing it on The Doctors on national TV. Oh, so wow. I raised $121,000 by shaving my head for charity.
Mm-hmm.
Second one was when Katy Perry asked me to make her a grill for her Dark Horse video.
Yeah.
So I made $1 million grill by Dr. Bill.
Wow. That's
It was
awesome.
the most expensive grill in the world.
I was actually watching. Have you seen the Kanye documentary on Netflix called Genius?
No.
So they go through. I was actually I looked at it to see if you were the dentist on that, because he was in a major accident early on in his career, and so he had to have his jaw wired shut. And so when his first song released, he did Through the Wire, that song. So he was talking like this throughout the whole song. So that was kind of like his big pitch, and he was rapping his lyrics through the wire, and that was kind of what propelled him. But they were showing the behind the scenes of the dentistry work that goes on, and it was pretty graphic. So, you know, I definitely don't have the stomach to see the things that you see on a day-to-day basis. So I've got a lot of envy for your stomach, for sure, and not just your abs.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Is there anything that you want to plug at this point? You've got a lot of things going on.
I've got a few things to leave you with. Number one, I have a podcast. It's called Meet the Mentor. It's ranked in the top 2.5 percentile of all podcasts.
Awesome.
I have Anthony Hopkins, Usher, Strahan, Kathy Bates, Paula Abdul, Richard Branson. I mean, on and on and on. They're really fun interviews. Secondly, again, Leap. If you have kids 15 to 25, please check it out. And third, I'm launching 2 new products this year. So keep your eyes open. I have a new whitening product coming out called Poof with 3 O's. And I have a new gum that's going to hit the market. It is a caffeinated chewing gum called Buzz Balls.
Awesome. And is there, outside of the teeth whitening, are there certain foods that you should stay away from that stain your teeth?
Yeah, all of them. No. I mean, you know, the obvious ones: coffee, cigarettes, you know, red wine. But you can always reverse it just by whitening your teeth back up again.
Gotcha. And so I should be checking out your new products coming soon, and any of the current products that you would recommend.
Well, I mean, I invented Zoom. It's still the #1 product. We don't own that company anymore, but it's still awesome.
Oh, I do have one more thing. Talk to me about the charcoal on your teeth. My wife comes home and her mouth is completely black, and I'm like, what are you doing?
It's a joke.
Okay.
It doesn't do anything.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. We'll put everything in the show notes.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.